The Lost Art with Andrew Cox, retired Master Gunnery Sergeant. thelostart.podbean.com. Get some merchandise and help support the podcast in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Now on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be a guest, tell your veteran story, discuss your veteran business or organization. Email The Lost Art with Andrew Cox at gmail.com. Andrew Cox, a Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. See the project story at tillvalhallaproject.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please enjoy the podcast that's giving a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. On today's show, we're having a My Veteran Story with Army veteran Chris Willingham. But before we get into that, are you enjoying the podcast? Make sure you're going and checking out the website. Also, don't forget about the Till Valhalla Project. I'm lucky enough to be an ambassador for them, so I would encourage you to go check out their website. Get all the gear that they're selling goes to a great cause, but go check them out and see what they're all about.
Here, Sergeant Devlin, love you, but watch out for shit ditches. I called it out. You didn't listen, and what happened? You got full of poop water. You got to listen to your story too.
Yeah, go ahead, tell us that story.
I was on dismount this day, right? And we had 5th group tag-alongs with the bomb dogs, right? And we're doing our village checks, checking out on all the villages. And we're dismounted in this field. And about halfway through the field, about an acre in of a 3-acre plot, I can clearly see this trench. And I'm like, oh, that's shit water, it's all the poop water and stuff.
Yeah.
So I jump over. I turn around. I say, hey, Sergeant Devlin, you need to jump. He says, huh? And about that time I hear splash and I hear, fuck, my phone. And I was like, this guy. I turn around. He pulls his fucking binocs up, bro. And he has shit water from here all the way down. He had chunks on him.
That's gross.
I was like, man, I tried to tell you. And matter of fact, I think we actually started taking shots. We did. We started taking shots on we had crossed back over it, and then we started taking shots from AKs. And he's over here. I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope he doesn't get shot while he's full of poop. You know what I mean? He's gonna get infected.
Yeah, he would. Holy cow, man, that's wild.
Thank God the Iraqis can't shoot their AKs for shit because they're not very accurate.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Falling in the poop water. Gotta love
the poop
it.
Water.
Yeah.
Gotta listen to your privates. I know we're not the smartest, but sometimes we say shit for a reason. Sometimes.
Oh, that's funny. So at this point, what rank were you on this deployment? What
on the deployment? So I came in because of my recruiter. I did the PT test and everything, and I scored 100 on my PT test coming in. Like I told you, I trained for it, so I got E3 going in. I got E3.
Okay, nice.
Because I did JROTC and everything in school, again, preparing. So I went in E3. So I want to say about 4 months into my deployment, I hadn't been back from Germany very long, and I got sent to the board, and I got my E4.
Okay, very nice. All right, and then so now your deployment, was it like a 6 month? How long was the total deployment? A year. Okay, that's a long time, man.
Yeah, it was a standard deployment, not a special operations one. That would have been cool, 6-month deployment, but we did a year.
Now the Marine Corps does it different. We always do 6-month deployments. Well, it ends up being like 7 months because you got to do the turnover and everything. But we never did a full year stint, or if you did, it was rare. You didn't see it very often. But they would always rotate them in and out fairly quick.
Ours were a year.
Yeah. The Army is more occupying, right? So they get there and they go ahead and stay for a while, which is, the Marine Corps doesn't really do that as much. So
when we get there, we're gonna let you see our swinging. You know what?
Yeah, for sure.
Out every day. We're here.
That's right. All right. And then at this point, how far into the deployment are you? Like, are you halfway through the deployment? When all this is going down?
Which phase? Which part?
All right. Well, the last part that you were talking about, with the
Oh yeah,
going on the patrol and stuff like that. Yeah.
it was about. I want to say about 3/4 of the way done.
Three
Yeah,
quarters of the way.
yeah.
Okay.
And then a really cool thing about my unit, I mean, I'm not EOD by any means. We were not EOD. We're just a sapper unit. But
Hmm.
the cool thing about when we were overseas is after the second time we had to wait 4.5 fucking hours for EOD to show up to blow in place so we can continue our mission.
Hmm.
They just told us not to call them anymore. They're like, you're good unless it's something really fucking big. Don't call us. With like our caches and stuff that we'd find,
Yeah.
we would have to call them. But outside of that, they told us to leave them the fuck alone. Like they had other shit to do.
Wow. So
I'm pretty
then you guys were blowing the stuff on your own.
Yeah, we were just using talons, just drop and goes, blow in place,
Yeah. Wow.
roll them, roll out the deck cord with a C4 on the
Hmm.
talon, blast charge, and button up.
Yeah.
Bring the talon back in, or bring the talon back in first. That heavy fucking robot, and then,
Yeah.
well, if you can make it in. Sometimes talons didn't make it back. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't ever let a private control that shit.
So how many times would you say that you guys were out there like blowing the stuff up on your own?
Oh, it was on average, I like from the whole company or just my platoon. My platoon alone, I'd say once a week, but as a company in general, I'd say at least 3 to 5 times a week,
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
if not more
Yeah,
than
that's
that. It
quite a
just
bit.
depended. It depended on Ramadan and everything. It depended on what time of
Hmm.
the year it was, the temperature, like all that stuff was a factor. Ramadan was when it got crazy. I hated that, especially when first Kev came down and they started fucking pissing everybody off. So
Yeah.
all the
What?
heart and mind work that we had done kind of got shit on.
Mm. Yeah, they just kind of came in ripping and roaring and kind
Well, I
of.
mean, I get it. I get it. They wanted combat, but at the same time, like combat will come to you. Don't force it, because there's
That's a
other
true
guys out
statement.
there. There's other guys out there, bro. Don't be a dick. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like we started getting hit. It went from like maybe when we were getting close to pulling out, like they were tired of fucking with us. They knew like we were gonna shit on them if they tested us.
Yeah.
We were gonna kill every last one of them, and then we'd go to their houses too. Like so,
Yeah.
they you and we'd built that relationship. Don't mess with us, we won't mess with you. How it's supposed
Yeah.
to be. And then they got there and they wanted combat, and that's when it went from like being blown up twice a week to like fucking 10.
Oh
It
my
went up
God.
substantially. Like we started getting hit a lot.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It just
God,
depends.
you got to know that the higher ups, as that is happening, you think about your company and battalion and everything, and then talking to the other units that were over there, they're probably going back and forth, really pissed off at each other about it.
Yeah, it caused a bit of
You get
friction.
you get a fresh company that comes in and they're, Wild West, doing whatever when destroying what you guys have worked so hard for.
Yeah. We worked hard to build that up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then
All
they
right,
tried to
so
test us in chow hall.
oh
Guys,
really?
if you're overseas, I don't care what your job is. If a unit comes in bloody and dirty as shit and they stink, don't say shit to them. Okay? Because
Yeah.
that means they've been in the field in the shit and they're not really in the mood to talk to anybody. Just let them eat and go about their day. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
But
So I'm assuming they started talking to you guys, and you guys had to take care of business there at the chow hall.
yeah, we might have had some Air Force and first Cav higher ups trying to kick us out of the chow hall until 2-6 found out. Until yeah, as soon as my platoon leader found out, it got really bad. But yeah,
Wow.
I just wanted my steak that day. I was just trying to get a steak. I was hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you kind of live chow to chow, when you're out there. That's,
MRE,
or at
yeah,
least I did. Yeah. I'd live
MRE,
chow to chow. Yeah.
yeah. Wasn't no field chow out in combat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
But
All right. Well, talk me through the kind of the rest of the deployment and what all took place.
well, I mean, the end of the deployment was actually, I mean, outside of like I said, Cav coming in, but it wasn't bad. It was actually relatively smooth. The left seat, right seat process on our way, like when we came in, the left seat, right seat was honestly kind of a mess. The whole handoff was kind of all clunky and nobody
Yeah.
really knew exactly where we were supposed to start from and build to or this or that. So we just kind of, when we were making our way out, we made sure like I would get all the E4s and everybody, and I'd tell them, hey, if you're going to be a gunner, follow me. Yeah, we try to actually set them up for better success than what we were set up on the way in. And I think most units did try to do that, but if we were at war, brother, it's a
Yeah.
fucking mess. And communication can get lost, especially when you
Hmm.
haven't slept for a while.
Yeah.
You can't get
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
brain to function.
Yeah, and it takes a little bit for your kind of your brain and stuff to kind of get in the right position to be able to do everything you're supposed to do. You're not going to walk in right away and just know everything. You got to kind of
No,
fill it out and that type of stuff, and you got to get in that mindset. So that left seat, right seat can be very, very important.
yeah, it's extremely important. It definitely is. I mean, basically, all you're doing is handing off intel on your enemy, right? Think about it.
Yeah,
That's super important. That's our one thing we need to know, right?
yeah,
So we
absolutely.
took that. We took it super serious on our way out, and hopefully, the company that took over for us, got work done. So I'm not sure how it worked out. Don't know. I know I was supposed to go to Afghanistan, literally a year after we got back from Iraq, but so many of us, got because of our job a little bit messed up and beat up
Yeah,
overseas. They let, I think it was about 55 to maybe almost 60% of our company go. Like all the lower, all the specialists and lower who were hurt, they just
yeah.
recycled.
Well, so when you say let them go, what is that? What do you mean by that?
Oh, kick them out, med board.
Oh, med boards.
Yeah.
So, okay, talk me through kind of that process, right? The med board process. What were you on med board for, and then how did that go?
Well, that's a touchy subject because I was supposed to have gotten med boarded and I fixed it with the Pentagon since, but yeah, I got kicked out on some bogus drug charges, and I never had a CIF investigation. I never had anything, and I was kicked out like immediately. So it took me 10 years, but I got it overturned. The Pentagon went
Oh,
in and did
wow.
their like the Pentagon sent CIF in to do an investigation. My name was never on the field UI, and they
Hmm.
kicked me out under drug charges and made it to where I couldn't get health benefits for almost 10 years after I got out because I was a
No
humanitarian.
kidding.
Yeah. When I served my country, I did what I was supposed to. I'm a Purple Heart vet, bro. My actual disability rating was over 210%. Well, by the time I got done, I was supposed to wear hearing aids, all that shit. So
Yeah,
the fact they did me like that was a big deal for me. Like I
yeah,
was willing to die for this country, and then that happened and I felt betrayed.
yeah, yeah. I can see that for sure, man.
And
And
it
that
made me feel well. It,
you,
it, it,
you,
he fucked with me. Like I knew I was a good soldier, but at the same time, am I really a good soldier if they're willing to kick me out over a fucking bullshit drug charge? Or like how does this work?
yeah,
How am I supposed to feel about this while I'm still trying to figure out who I am after combat?
yeah, absolutely. But good for you. I got to say, good for you to keep continuing to push it. You said it took 10 years, but in the long run, you get to the end of that, right? Well worth it. kind of clear your name, clear your conscience, and then they give
Yeah.
you the medical and all the stuff that you need on the backside. Although it shouldn't have happened in the first place, but you were able to push through and do what you needed to do, which is really good. So good on you for doing that.
Yeah. For anybody out there, who had a somewhat similar circumstance, man, don't ever give up. Just keep pushing. If you know you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you probably
Yeah.
shouldn't have done it to fucking start with then. But I knew I hadn't, I wasn't on drugs, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely fought. I got it overturned. Thank you to the Pentagon. Y'all did good. CIF or CID, y'all did good. CIF. Oh, wow. You got to turn my clothes
It's all
back
good.
in. It's been a
So,
minute, brother.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So talk me through some of that process, so now you're out, you're trying to overturn it. What kind of things did you do, right? So that there's people out there kind of in the same boat that you were in. So kind of talk them through what you did to be able to get everything overturned.
Oh, you got to stay on the VA. They're not going to stay on you. You got to stay on the VA. Just keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, because you're going
Yeah.
to have to write. You're going to have to get character witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
To verify that you're not a piece of shit, right? Okay, so you got to do that. You need to write a background on exactly what happened, where it went wrong, and what needs to be fixed. And you got to stay on it. Like I literally had to call them every other day, and
Oh,
it took
wow.
so the 10 years was for my disability, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
took literally 2 years, and it was during COVID that I was doing this whole getting my daggum what when you are daggum like other and honorable, like you're just discharge status. Holy,
Discharge, yeah.
my brain blanked hard right there, brother. Too many IEDs. Uh
It happens. It happens.
I do it sometimes. Like I know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I just can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, you like if you've ever been in the military, which anyone that's watching this most likely has or has family members who serve or have served. So we know the government is not going to be quick to give anybody any money, right? But
Yeah.
they're quick to take it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
don't ever, don't ever think the government is on your side when you're in a situation to get money from the government because they're not, And I can't blame them. I'm not mad at them. I get it. The government is no different than a business. They still have to make their
Yeah.
money too, but at the same time, take care of your fucking people. So don't ever give up, guys. Just keep going, and you have to stay on them like every day. Call them people. Make sure it's getting to because my stuff kept getting my paperwork, all these packets and character witnesses and everything I was supposed to continue filling out, like, and to make sure I had to keep doing it because it would get lost, right?
Mm.
Drop it off to this guy, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna send it to them. And then you call the next day, oh, I don't know where the paperwork is. Like, I handed it to you. What do you mean? So just,
Well, that's very important then to make sure that you have the originals, you make copies to hand to them and those types of things. Don't just have the originals and hand it to them because, man, if that happens, you'll never see it again. Then you have to go back,
no.
redo everything.
If you didn't learn it in the military starting out to make 100 copies of everything and never give out an original, then I feel really bad for you guys. Maybe y'all got blown up more than me. I still love you guys, but hey, we got to all keep each other. Everyone needs to hold everyone else that's a vet to, hold them to account. The
Yeah,
credibility,
absolutely.
because it's hard, bro. I can't check myself all the time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
but when you're
as you're going through this process, like uh what would you say the biggest lesson learned as you're going through the process was for you?
the whole military process or
No, sorry,
like,
the after for the VA and getting everything overturned.
oh, I mean, honestly, the most important thing I would have said is exactly what you just touched on was keeping your
Yeah.
original copies, keeping binders for all your paperwork.
Yeah.
That way what, like, all your medical stuff in its own binder, all your awards in its own, because there's gonna come a day, like, I didn't give a shit about that stuff when I first got out, but nowadays I do. You know, I got kids. I want them
Yeah.
to see, so it's all important. It may not seem important then, brother, but everything is important. Don't ever get rid of anything and always keep your paperwork. Don't get rid of originals. Make billions of copies and only give out copies.
Yeah. 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 I like that. I like that. So, and you're that success story out of it. You were able to persevere, push through everything because a lot of people just give up. The bureaucratic stuff that's going on. They just like, yeah, forget it. It's not worth it type of deal.
I'm
But
not,
you were able to continue to push through. It took a while, it took a long while, but
no,
you did it, man.
I did give up at one point. I tried for the first like 4 years and I gave up for about 6 months because I felt I got in my feelings, man. I was being a little baby, but yeah, I
Hmm.
realized real quick, like if I don't do it, no one else is, and that's when I got back on. So it's all right, it's all right to feel overwhelmed, to give up, but get back on that horse. You fall off, take you a deep breath and go back at it. Don't ever just completely give up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good. So now you're married, you got kids, right? Yeah. Well, we're talking about your kids. So uh what does that mean to you now that you've been able to overturn everything, things like that for your family? What does that mean for you?
Everything. That's just it's literally the whole reason I wanted to protect this country to begin with, was so that my kids could have the same country to grow up in that I did, have the same opportunities that I did. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's what the actual definition of being a parent should be. That I heard growing up is that if you're gonna be a parent, you want your kids to live a better life than you did.
Hmm.
So that's all I wanted, and I
Yeah.
still strive for it today.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then kind of talk to me after you got out, you're doing all your stuff, but where did you end up going? What were you doing during that time, or you work, like what were you doing for work, those types of things?
Uh, work was work was difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of. I'm not super easy to get along with, like even before the military, but after the military, like I went. I had a bunch of quite a few welding and metal fabrication jobs and stuff like that. But it was really hard to stay in one spot to work for somebody after that. You know what I mean? I don't know if it
Yeah.
was uh I don't know what it was, maybe pride. I don't know. But working for somebody, being under somebody who didn't even understand me just felt asinine.
Yeah. And how did you how did you deal with that over time?
I drank a lot. I drank a lot, and
Okay.
then that was another freaking rabbit hole I fell down and had to dig myself back out of as
Hmm.
well. You know, I've hit every
Yeah.
pitfall I think there is for vets, and I'm still here and I'm sober, so it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy either. You
Um,
start going down like that rabbit hole with alcohol, those types of things, because it's so easy, because you get that instant gratification from it,
yeah, yeah,
so it's nice to have that, that relaxed feeling, if you will. So but man, that instant gratification isn't always what you need.
there's definitely not what we need. So, like, I mean, everybody at our age should know anything good you got to work for. Anything
Yeah.
gave to you is not worth a shit.
Hmm.
So that's what I try to think. I try to remind myself of that every time stuff starts to get hard, and I'm trying to work towards a goal. Like that gum, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true. So what would you say the kind of the turning point for you? Because you said you're having struggles in keeping a job, and then you're getting into alcohol. What was the turning point for you?
When I actually gave my heart to the Lord.
Nice. Okay. And then how long was
Yeah.
that? Like, in that process, you get out. How long was that?
So after I got out, I think I did. Mind you, I got sent to psych wards from the VA and everything too, because they said I was crazy. But I spent about 5.5 years just living hell, man. Like every day
Hmm.
was a struggle. Everything was a problem.
Yeah.
and I got sick of it. Then I started going to church, and then I got baptized. And literally, as soon as I got baptized, I could feel all that just melt away, you know. And I know I
Yeah.
cuss and everything, but I'm not a perfect
There,
Christian, okay? But the
there,
Lord
there
has
isn't
helped me.
one. There isn't one.
No, but the Lord, what He's done for me is I have real bad anxiety, as you can tell. I'm fidgety, and
Hmm.
but it's because of that stuff. But throughout the years of praying and everything else, and meditating, and just knowing that He's there for me, I've been able to.
Hmm.
A lot of that's gone away. I'm a lot more calm and not near as stressed.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a huge thing. I encourage everybody, go to church, get with a Christian family or Christian people to be around and stuff like that. It's very, very important. And like you were saying, no one's perfect. There's
Right.
only one perfect person that I know that walked the earth, and that was, what, 2024 years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, Jesus
That's
Christ, the
a
only
long
perfect one
time.
I know. Yeah. So, but nobody's perfect, but you got to keep pushing, you got to keep trying, recognize when you do something wrong and, try to push on from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's good that you were able to get into the church and stuff like that. And you're here so you grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
You're here in Oklahoma now. So tell me kind of how you ended up in Oklahoma.
Oh shoot, man, I've been everywhere. So initially, I moved to California
Okay.
after Iraq because I'd met a girl and everything. I fucking hate California. I'm just gonna be honest. I hated it. I hated it. I got stuck there for like 8 years trying to make enough money to get back home. So I come back home to Texas, and then I moved out to Hot Springs, Arkansas. I got a
Oh yeah.
job out there. It was super nice, beautiful place, good people, and then I met my wife now and moved up here to Oklahoma, Fort Smith area.
Okay. Very nice. And now was she from here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She's from
All
Oklahoma.
right. I got you. All right. And say, Sallisaw is not a bad place to be. I enjoy it here. It's nice, you know.
It reminds me
So,
a lot of where I grew up, honestly.
oh, really? Very
Yeah,
nice.
that
Awesome.
small town vibe.
Yeah. 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 Just think back over your entire life, right? At this point, your military experience, your work experience, becoming a Christian. Uh, what advice would you have? Lessons learned that you would want to impart on everybody out there.
Oh man, that's a big question, brother. The main
I
thing
know,
would
I know.
definitely, you need to find whether it's God or what. You got to find somebody you can either talk to or get some of that shit off of y'all's chest, brother. Because I know we're
Mhm.
strong, right? But we're only human, right? Our shoulders are only so wide, and after a certain point, if you don't let that shit off, you're not in a healthy space. You're just gonna
Yeah,
continue to corrode mentally and emotionally, and it's not a healthy environment, and it's not productive for ourselves as veterans to put ourselves in that position. So if you can avoid
yeah.
drama, stress, whatever, avoid it, and get shit off your chest, man. Pray or talk to somebody that you can.
Yeah, yeah. And there's tons of veteran organizations out there. I did recently, if you heard of Operation or Eagle Operation, have you heard of that?
I
It's
have.
it's a thing. It's based here in Oklahoma, but the guy's out of Tulsa. And I had him on the show and he kind of talks about that, but they put up host events where veterans just come together and they do different things. Sometimes they go water skiing, sometimes they shoot guns, sometimes it's just different events and veterans come together. And through that, they also have and I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Oklahoma. It's some sort of counseling or not counseling. That's not the word I'm looking for. Can't remember what the heck to call it. But they have caseworkers to be able to help people, veterans and stuff. So
Okay.
if you go to these events, You know, you can give them information, say, hey, I'm struggling with, you know, maybe it's financially, or I'm struggling, you know, mentally, or whatever. You put it down. Well, a caseworker reaches out to you and says, hey, how can we help? And they put you in contact with whatever services you may need, you know, whether that be financial or whatever, doesn't matter. But it's
Cool.
basically vets helping vets. So I go ahead, check them out. It's Operation Eagle, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it is. But I did a previous podcast on it, so I go listen to that podcast, because he's got some great stuff out there, and it's
Okay.
almost all over all of Oklahoma. He's in half of the counties in Oklahoma right now, and it's getting bigger every day. So,
That's
but it's
awesome.
something that he started out at Tulsa. Yeah, but there's all
Okay.
kinds of organizations out there for everybody. You know, no wherever you are, you can just type in, you know, VA organization near you, and there's tons of stuff that's going to pop up. You know, and it's funny because I started doing these podcasts. I'm finding every day more and more organizations as we move along. I had no clue that there were that many out there. So, but yeah,
It's
and it's fantastic.
Well, that's kind of what I kind of touched on that a little earlier, but until you like the VA doesn't give you these resources, you got to like do your own work. Like, and
Yeah.
I found that out over the years too about stuff like I remember one time I was in California. I moved out there. I didn't have no money and I needed a place, and they helped me get a place, one of the veteran, you know, third party funded place, like you're talking,
Hmm.
and those
Yeah.
like that's a lifesaver.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, you gotta seek it out. You know, they only advertise so much. You know, it's getting better with social media, because you know anybody can start at a social media account and start, you know, letting people know about stuff. But even with
Right.
that, it's until it gets popular, right? It's not gonna, you know, go across everybody's feed. So,
Yeah, it's not
but
going to be on the algorithm.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, there, I mean, you search it up, and there's tons of stuff, you know, and I've got stuff on my website for different things, like trying to find a job or whatever. There's tons and tons of stuff on there. But yeah, I'm just excited to be able to pass that information on to everybody too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All
Hey,
right, man. Well,
congratulations
hey,
on your congratulations on the Till Valhalla project. That's huge.
yeah, man, I was thrilled that they were willing to take a chance on me, you know. So it's pretty awesome. The podcast is starting to take off a little bit. Who knows? Maybe in the near future it'll get real big. Who knows? I don't know. If not, it's okay. I like what I'm doing, so it's all good. You know, I
There
get
you
to
go.
talk to people like you and hear your story, and you know, and it's great for other veterans to hear it as well.
Right. All right. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, brother. Thank you for having me on. It's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing. I'm glad that my mom sent you in my direction, you know. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
and if you ever need anything from me, don't hesitate to reach out.
Will do, brother.
All right. Well, hey, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, just remember the VA does have some good stuff out there for you. You can always dial 988, press option one. You can text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options are going to put you in contact with somebody that's going to be able to help you out. But one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know this guy cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. With that, brother, thanks again for coming on. I truly
Yes, sir.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having me.
To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.